Case study for EDL 856. My name is Lindsay Stevenson. To summarize the case study, a newly formed parent group has shared their desire to be more involved with the teaching and learning process within our school building. This involves me as the principal, the parents that were regrouped after rebuilding from an original PTA organization, and the parent group officers who have met with me in my office recently to share their new ideas. Considering some of their new committees, they have a committee for teacher performance and another for student discipline, and another for the overall school evaluation. Some of these raise some red flags for me as the principal, for parent involvement in teacher performance could potentially be a contract infraction, and depending on the involvement in discipline, this could also be a FERPA infraction. So these will be things I'll need to communicate with them, as well as our existing policies and procedures with KISA, Site Council, and our discipline matrix from the district and board. Overall, the PTA wants more involvement in teaching, learning, and discipline and overall school evaluation. Some of their ideas are not in sync with how I traditionally have worked with PTA and expected and needed their support. The principal had previously worked with the PTA on events and activities within the school building, such as back to school night and parent-teacher conferences. They worked with traditional roles of the PTA with the mission to volunteer, raise money, and support school efforts. The building's PTA reorganized and disaffiliated with the national PTA to form their own parent group. And these parents have reorganized their group to serve purposes to engage more in teaching, learning, and discipline. Some of the ideas that they have for back to school night do not collaborate well with what I had thought that we would do. And so some of their ideas we'll need to talk about and see how we can get the most parent involvement overall. Review and prioritizing my information. So redirecting the parent group could potentially harm relationships with the stakeholders. These parents seem to be wanting to be involved, and they seem to be very motivated. The principal, teachers, and parents all have an important role in this outcome. I needed to find out what the mission of this new parent group is and what is their vision. I do not know enough about some of my decisions because I do not understand the roles of all these committees or the impact they wish to have upon the building. Some of my options: redirect the parent group and how they can best serve the building in the more traditional manner that I wish for them to serve. This might break stakeholder relationships, causing tension within the parent group. I could meet with them to get more details and then scaffold their desire to be involved, setting boundaries for teacher performance and discipline due to legal restrictions. Parents would feel like they've been heard and have direction in their involvement. I could let the parent group do what they have set out to do and handle the repercussions as they arise. Teachers will be upset possibly here because of the overall parent involvement in their performance, and students and families may be upset depending on what student discipline data they are wanting to look at within their committees. My first reaction: to redirect the parent group on how they can best serve a more traditional role. I remain in control and protect teachers and students from breach of contract and data release. However, the parents won't be happy because they will view this as uncollaborative and unsupportive. I could meet with them and get more details and set some boundaries. This would build further relationships with the new parent group, allowing them to have a voice, setting boundaries, and working together to meet all needs. Some parents might want more control and be uncollaborative would be the con. I could let the parent group do what they want and handle repercussions as they occur. Parents would be happy, but teachers and students may not be. Overall, the best option is that a collaborative movement forward can be arranged in this scenario. There's no reason I can't work with this parent group and help redirect and scaffold their activities and tasks. I need to carefully set boundaries to protect student data and teacher performance. I need to scaffold the parent work to support and direct them. I do need to request a committee be designed for events and activities because this is traditionally where I've needed the support of the PTA. And I'll participate with them to develop a clear mission and norms so that we're working together as a team. Some of the current policies in place that I'll have to inform them about is: number one, our site council. Invite them to be part of that site council and explain to them how we use site council to make decisions, look at data, and move forward with our goals in KISA. I'll explain the KISA process to them and how we already have building goals we're working towards and designated ways we're collecting data for those goals. I'll explain to them that teachers have a state teacher evaluation and that parent input in those evaluations is not part of the process, and that it is a confidential process between administration and those teachers. I'll also explain the board policy and our district discipline matrix. It's currently under review and editing to add some more equitable practices for discipline. But overall, besides sharing the overall data for discipline, that's about the extent that I can go into with the parents on student discipline matters. I can always be a good listener and hear their concerns and reasons that we have some issues that they would like to be more involved in. But overall, sometimes they will not be able to have that complete involvement they're looking for. Implementing my decision, the first thing I will do is going to be to set a meeting with the entire parent group with the intention of setting a mission and some norms. I'll request volunteers for an event and activity committee to support our needs, and then I'll meet with each committee separately to help scaffold their involvement within our building. I'll explain what I can provide them regarding data and then the restrictions in the teacher performance category and discipline data as well. When meeting with the event committee, I'll explain that their idea of a multiple day back to school night might not align with our parents' ability to commit and show up with our parent population for back to school night. But I will challenge them to try and condense their ideas into one evening, and then we can still use their ideas and build from there. I'll provide our key information and ask them to be part of this process to support the school evaluation. And I'll request monthly meetings with clear goals and actions each time that we meet. It sounds as though these parents would like to be more of a site-based council than a parent-teacher association. I think disassociating with the parent-teacher association, that takes the teachers out of the loop and out of the input. So I might suggest that just like any site council, we have students, teachers, and so that they'll all be involved in these decisions moving forward. The worst case scenario is that parents will be unhappy with some of them in the group because they don't have the control and the influence that they're seeking to have. Collaboratively, I've engaged and cultivated relationships with the community members, partners, and constituencies for the benefit of our school improvement and our student development. Having their input will not be a bad thing, but helping them understand the best way to contribute is part of my role. Promoting the current and future success and well-being of each student and adult by applying knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to engage families, community, and school personnel in order to strengthen our student learning, school support and involvement, and advocate needs for our school and community. Part of what I needed to do is advocate for our students and teachers, but the other part is to continue to encourage our community members to be involved in the right way. Just giving them some direction and helping them with the tasks that help them feel involved and heard.